palm reading of this particular male. I do not know his age right now, and he mentioned that he is in jail, and we will be talking about this aspect as well as other aspects in his palm. So before we basically start the video, I would request you to press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update. To get a reading from me, you can call me or you can email me. These are the phone number and email that are mentioned on there on the screen. So you can get in touch with me. Now we straight away head to this particular hand image. We have in front of us the left hand first. You would basically say, why the left hand? We can take a look at both the hands and come to the final conclusion. It is not necessarily that left hand is the passive hand. Both hands show similarities in most of the cases. So that's the reason why we would take a look at both the hands. Now this person mentioned that he is in jail right now. If you basically ask me if there are any signs, I basically took a look at all the aspects and there's no such thing, no such aspect which can basically say that the person would be in jail. The jail basically concerns being isolated, and Saturn is the area for isolation. This is also the area of depression, depressive tendencies, and not necessarily a person may be in jail. Try to understand, the person may not be in jail yet the person might be isolated. So Saturn basically is more to do with that. People who have got bad markings over the amount of Saturn there, it might indicate negative things. This horizontal kind of line is a negative sign, but at the same time many people have such a line, and not necessarily they are going to be jailed. It's not like that. So don't think that automatic if you're many people have got many markings over it, many crisscrossing markings over it. It's highly marked out here. That is basically going to be considered a bad sign, because it would mean being isolated, and not necessarily the person might go to prison, but yet the person would be somewhat in jail even in his own house. So this is what is represented by the amount of Saturn. So on other aspects of the palm also, I would basically try to see few things and talk about this particular aspect. The other aspect is that this is the money line, and it is broken before it touches the headline. This is basically the headline. So this portion of the line of fate, the line of money, is before the age of 35, and when it is broken before the age of 35, somewhere out here the age is approximately 32. That's approximate. At this intersection the age is 35 at the intersection of the head and the money line. The age is 35, but before that it could be somewhere near to age 32. So when there's a break on the fate line, it could mean job loss or work loss. And sometimes now the person basically has said all these kind of things, so probably it could mean trouble in one's finances, and that might be coming about due to the thing that the person has mentioned. So this could be one of the way to look at it. Now beyond the age of 32, you would notice that the money line is fairly good. It is deep and clear and singular, and although it is, once it reaches the headline, it again breaks and new line basically develops. And after the age of 35, this is the point where we are looking at. There are 2 or 3 multiple parallel lines that are running close to the main line of fate. This is the main line of fate, so these are parallel running lines. So these are considered to be good signs. Now this is one way of looking at. The other way to look at is, again, one more thing I need to add out here is that just take a look at the first finger. The first finger is the area, it is the pointing finger, it is the finger of authority, it is the finger of administration, religion, politics, honor, high position. And everybody has some area or the other. Some people might have a positive area, some people might have a negative area, but in this case there's an upward, very deep and clear line on the mount of Saturn, sorry, mount of Jupiter. This is the mount of Jupiter, this is the pointing finger. People who have this upward lines, basically it indicates high position and honor coming to this particular position person. Now the person has said that he is in jail, but even in spite of being in jail, the person could have an authority, could have a position, could have honor in his life. So it's not necessary, because the jail life is different from the outside world life. So few people in jail, they might not have that kind of authority and position that this person might attain, might have. So this is considered to be a good sign, and this upward line is automatically not for one particular year, but it is for continuous life. It is for throughout the life. It's not like it's happening, these high position coming to this particular person only at a certain age. It is right from childhood these things apply. So this is one way. The other thing that that is good marked on this particular hand is this is the headline and this is the money line. So you would notice that there are few upward kind of lines pointing upward towards the fingers, and these are multiple lines. These are multiple lines, and it is all happening before the age of 35. So these upward lines is something like branches from the headline moving upward, means some amount of jubilation happening, some amount of success coming to this particular person, or something or the other. The person is gaining and the person is progressing in life, or something or the other is happening in a good way. He has talked something bad, so it is in the back of my mind, but when I am looking at the hand, I am seeing positive aspects even before the age of 35. These upward lines, when they point towards the mount of Mercury, it could mean very good set of skill and calculations and communication. So a person could be very good at calculations, communication, or the person might upgrade his skills. So these are basically positive signs. As far as the sun line goes, sun line is the carrier line. You would notice this is the sun line, this is also the sun line, and this is the sun line below the finger. So this particular, the strong sun line is above the heart line, this is the heart line, and between the fingers. So this portion of the sun line is very good. When a person has got a very good sun line under the finger, it basically means success, and it is success throughout the life. Although if we try to mark the age, I'm just drawing the headline, this is the heart line, and I'm just drawing another sun line which is not there on the hand, just for representational purpose. That this portion of the life is before the age of 35 on the sun line. This portion is 35 to 53, and this portion is after the age of 53. So you would notice that the sun line before the age of 35, this portion is very weak. The portion from 35 to 53, this portion is also very weak. The line is dim and weak and barely visible. And the line that is above the heart line, below the fingers, that's perfect, super good after the age of 53. So the chances for his success increases. Whatever the person might do, the person is going to be successful. The light lines, the dim lines that we see out here are lines of doubts. Doubts, basically self-doubt or doubts, basically never give success. So the person has to come out of doubts. That's when the person is likely to be more successful. So briefly, we'll take a look at the right hand now. Now we have the right hand in front of us, and the right hand is basically, you would notice that in the right hand, the heart line, this is the heart line, and it is leaning a little bit towards the headline. This is the headline. So it's leaning towards the headline. So leaning towards the headline is generally not considered to be good, although it's not touching the headline. It is not touching the headline. So, but even then, the meaning is somewhat similar. What it basically represents is that misplaced affection. the person might be affectionate to those people who are not worth his affection. So the person needs to be in good company. If the person is in good company, the chances for his success increases. And if the person is in bad company, so the possibility arises that the person is likely to give his time, effort, energy to those people who are not worth his affection. So the person needs to be very careful whom the person gives his energies to. So one more thing is that the heart line is extremely long and reaching somewhere close to the mount of Jupiter. Whenever the heart line reaches the mount of Jupiter, it signifies that the person is idealistic, the person is sensitive, the person has high expectations from relationship, and the person who has got high expectations from relationship, the chances for disappointments increases. So my advice with you to this particular person would be to be more realistic. People who have their heart line ending somewhere close to the mount of Saturn, those people are more grounded, realistic. This person is more idealistic, very sensitive, and higher expectations and disappointments might creep in his particular life. So so this is a little bit negative. You would also notice that on the heart line, this is the heart line, there are many branches out here. There are many branches out here. I'm just going to take a brief look. This is also the right hand. You'll notice that there are many branches out here. So branches on the heart line is generally not considered to be good. What it basically represents is that the person is likely to get distracted. The person might be flirtatious. The person might fall for temptations, and the person I would say should remain focused if the person wants more success. These branches that you see on the heart line are carrying the extra baggage of the past attachments or disappointments or whatever. So person who is focused, the person out here, the person is lacking in focus, the person is getting distracted. So I would advise this particular person is remain focused. What you are doing, remain focused, do not get distracted, because and you have to commit yourself, you have to offer your life to one particular cause. Only then the person can be successful. So offering it is something like dedicating your life to something. So you have to dedicate your life to something or the other. Only then the person is going to be successful. Although the good part is that these branches that we talked about, these branches are comparatively very weak kind of lines, very small lines. If there was strong kind of line, as we saw in your left hand, this is the heart line, and this is another strong branch hanging downwards. So this is a little bit negative, although but because it's on the left hand, so the meaning basically is not so prominent as it is if it was seen in the right hand. So just taking the best image, right? Yeah, this is a good image. So this is what is represented. Now just notice one thing, that the sun line in the right hand, the active hand, I presume that the person is right-handed, so I'm assuming we are taking right hand as the active hand, although we have to consider both hands true when we have to come to the conclusion. So in the right hand, you would notice that the sun line is not so deep and clear. It is a little bit dim. So dim lines basically means it is something like clouds coming inside your room, and if the room is clouded, the chances are you are unable to go outside because you can't find your way out of the room. So it is advised that you have to clear all the doubts, basically doubts you have to remove. Only then the person is likely to be more successful, and you have to give your energies to one place. You have to dedicate your life to one thing. Only then the person is going to be more successful. Now one more thing I'll add out here is that we see, generally people think that people who are rash and those are the people who might face trouble in their life. This is the general perception. But if the head and the lifeline both were separate, there was a gap in between, then the person would be rash. But out here it's the opposite. out here what is happening is that the head and the lifeline both are joined at the initial start for a long duration of time. So the person is very cautious, the person is very shy and hardworking, and the person is contemplating. So you are going to wonder how come the person is troubled. See this few things we cannot answer completely. I will try to answer them, but there are no fixed answers to it. And so just imagine this is the headline. See these backward lines that you see out here. Backward lines towards the mount of Mars. Mars negative. This is the Mars negative area. This is just the name. This is not in any way negative, but this is the area of anger, aggression, and fire. So if the headline moves backward in the initial stage and it is moving somewhere around the age of 17-18, so what happens is that anger is going to creep into this person's mind, and the person is always going to be very, very angry. So people who are angry, they might make mistakes. So the chances for making mistakes in anger are much more than when you are not when you are cool and calm. So this is what is probably the problem could have arisen due to this particular aspect. It appears that there is backward line out here as well, pointing towards the amount of Mars negative, and this is happening. This point of life on the headline is age 32, 33, and this is not such a clear image. I would just take a look at some other hand image and then come to the conclusion. Now on the right hand as well, the upward line that I described about is also seen on the right hand as well, both left and right hand. So high position and honor attained by this particular person. The as such, one more thing I need to add out here. See, sometimes people who go to jail, they have a very, very normal kind of a personality. It's not that they have got abnormal personalities. And if I was not told, I could not have told that the person might be in jail. So person is cautious, shy, hardworking, already I've talked about, and this is the headline and this is the heartline. So both lines are normal kind. It's leaning a little bit downward, but this is also quite normal. Many people have got much more worse kind of lines, but still they are not suffering those kind of troubles as the person might be suffering because of being in jail or whatever. So this person is a balanced personality. The heart line and the headline, they are quite normal. They are simple. Simple line means that simplistic decision makings are there in this particular person's life. So a very predictable kind of a person this person is likely to be. This is what my opinion is. And just take and if you notice the headline, as it moves forward, the better it basically becomes. It's very simple kind. So sometimes even in spite of all the troubles, the person still is able to kind of handle stress, come out of problems. That is when the person's headline and heartline are simple, deep and clear, and that this is what is represented out here in this particular hand as well. And just briefly, let's take a look at the other hands as well. And on this particular hand, if you notice, this is the lifeline. The upward lines are gains and luck, all these things happening, unlocking of financial resources, the person gets something. And the money line is also kind of, there's a branch out here, at the age of 32, at the age of 31, 32, 33, and at the age of 31, 32. These are also comparatively good lines that we see out here. And let's take a look at few other hand images that we have in front of us. And just going to briefly, I'm not going to, there's nothing much to talk about out here. There's no significant lines out here. And in this hand image also, similar things I've already seen. These upward lines that you see out here, these are lines of skill and communication. So the line should be a little bit deeper, then we would say it is much better. But it is okay. And if you have to see if a person lies, so for a person who is lying, this portion of the section of the Mercury finger is very long, and these sections, first and second section, they are comparatively shorter. So in this particular person's case, this portion is very small compared to the above two sections. So we just have to compare these sections. So I find that the person would be a straightforward kind of a person. This is what is basically represented in this particular hand. And I'll just take a look at a few other hand images that we have in front of us. Now, if you notice one thing, that the area of mount of Venus, this is the area of Venus. Venus is the area of energy, vitality, stamina, grace, beauty, desires, all these kind of, and this is also the area of sexuality. And people who have a prominent Venus out here, we are finding that the area appears to be well padded and is prominent. So when the person's Venus is very prominent, so what happens is that the person's desires increases. It could be sexual desires, it could be desire for better things in life, better luxuries. And Venus in geography, if you have read, Venus is described in one word: it is a warm planet. So a warm planet means that this person is likely to be very warm by nature. A person who is very warm by nature, the chances for their making lots of relationships and lots of partnerships basically increases. Because of their warmth, people might be getting attracted to this particular persons. So although this area is prominent, but sometimes it also gives negative results as well. See, problems might come to a person if one area is very prominent. So if the desires increases to a very great extent, so the person can't live without it. So the person would do anything to get these things in their life. So all the vices basically come to this particular person if this area is not utilized in a good way. Vices can be woman, wine, or these kind of things that might get applied, but not necessarily it might apply. This also is the area of taste, good food, good clothes, and attraction and attractive personality, the person who can attract anybody towards them. As far as the lifeline goes, you would notice the upward line on the mount of Jupiter, and there are a few upward lines here as well. At the initial start, before the age of 35, these upward lines pointing from the lifeline upward towards the Saturn finger or the Jupiter finger means gains and luck. If it points towards the Saturn, it means lucky in money. If it points towards the mount of Jupiter, high position and honor. These perpendicular lines pointing towards the mount of Mercury, this could represent skill. So this is what is basically represented out here. And so I've talked about many things on this particular hand, and it appears that the Saturn finger is extremely long. When it's long, it could mean, this portion could mean isolation, but not everybody. See, don't think that if you have got a long finger, it would automatically mean getting that term, being in jail or something like that, but it could just mean isolation. And just briefly, I'm just going to take few other hand images that we have in front of us. I was sent many hand images, so almost similar things that we see out here. So I'll just close this hand image, close this hand image, again this hand image also I'm going to close. And thumb is not very long, so if it's short, then the person could be submitting by nature, and the personality could see, when the thumb is extremely long, the person's personality stands out. If it's a little bit short, the person might be submitting to some extent. But even the president of United States, even they have a short finger, a short thumb, so it doesn't mean anything negative as such. So although the first section is for the willpower, the second section is for reasoning. So if this section is long, then it means that more willpower. If this section, the second section is long, so more reasoning. But out here it's medium kind, so it's nothing that I would like to comment out here. And similar kind of lines that we see. Okay, on this hand, one last thing that I would add out here is that we find that there is a money triangle. This is the money line, this is the Mercury line, and this is the headline. So a combination of these three lines is called the money triangle, and it's pointing towards the three fingers, Saturn, Sun, and Mercury. So rays penetrate, or energies penetrate from the fingers, and they enter the palm. That means entering the life, and they enter somewhere out here, and they get accumulated out here. So accumulation is basically gaining from these three planets. So it's a positive sign. The reason why we say positive is that money line means money. The Mercury lines means skill and calculations. If a person has skills and calculations and communication, the person is likely to be more successful. And the headline, if the headline is stable, that means stability of mind would provide him the opportunity to make more money. This backward line that we see on the headline pointing towards the amount of Mars, even this one, likely this one. So those are like kind of dealing with a law enforcement, or having a case against you or something like that. But still many people have it, but they don't go to jail. So this is what we find out here is that, and I would just suggest to this person that remain committed to what you wish to do, and channelize your energies. That's how you can come out of your problems, and take up one thing and remain committed to that. That's how the person is likely to be more successful. Thanks for watching this video. Bye and take care. Before I end this video, I would just repeat few things that I repeat in almost all my videos. What about my fate line? Does it tell about my money, possession, and wealth? We can come to know about money, possession, and wealth from any aspect of your hand. It can be your money line, heart line, head, life, sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or any other line or any other amount. Importance of money line in terms of how much money we will have is just 15%. It's a combination of many things together that can bring success or failure in our life. A saint once said, you do not need to go to an astrologer or a palmist to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is the result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you are doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. Keep positive thoughts and keep good company. That's what matters the most. Positive company matters the most. Thanks for watching. Bye and take care.